All right, everyone, we are back with the next episode of the Raiders Rambles. I am Joel, your chief host of the show, and joining me, as always, is none other than my co-host Noble.
It is ass cold out there today.
Well, if you want to ask cold, it's been last week that I had that phenomenon. Now it's just petered out, but yes, you live in a on a little turd close to Antarctica, so what do you expect?
Yay!
Hmm For being so close to the ice shelf. All right. Now, joining us today, we have Drake.
Hello, Drake here.
It's good to have you back on the show. Hope you're doing fantastic.
Doing great and glad to be back in. Pop my nuzzle in a few times a year when I can.
I know, right? I think I've got to get into the habit of buzzing you at least more often. Just just before we go and say, like, Drake, are you up? What's happening?
I'm like, nope, sitting in front of the computer listening to all the rambles going on.
hmm Hey, at least we know you're around. That's the important part that matters. So, today on the show, we have a couple of interesting things to start with. And to start things off, we have an upcoming FurCon Megaplex 2026 happening as always in glorious Florida. So, now you don't have to confirm this to me, Drake, but are you planning anything? Are you eyeing the con? Is it like
I'm just gonna eye it for now and like you look at the schedules because it's changing on the fly.
Yeah, that's the thing. And right now, Mo Plus 2026, happening next week, it's themed Jurassic World. Oh, yes, a timely tribute to a late legend. Yes, I know. We heard about the passing of the man himself. Yeah, just gonna be disappointing. The man who created such a great, a series of movies, right? Right? You all love Jurassic Park. Who doesn't?
Was a movie I remembered in the '90s, next to many others.
Hmm Uh-huh, indeed. And so, the thing about this is that there have been some interesting problems with the scheduling at Megaplex 2026, and owing to it is because of some of the panels that ran questionable content. Now, here's their official statement first. We'll read that in the schedule bit by bit, but here's the statement from Megaplex themselves. We have received a number of comments and concerns regarding the Megaplex 2026 convention schedule, and we'd like to take a few moments to address recurring questions. During 2025, we opened the concept of a community room. That is, a room that is dedicated to a specific genre of programming. In 2025, this was limited to the pool toy community room.
Woohoo! I was
Something I
there,
know
but
you'd like, Drake. Something we know you'd like.
hey, I was least I popped my head in there with some prototypes and it kind of I didn't even know that room existed actually. But I know what they're talking about because we have the same thing on Galactic Camp too, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And being staff there, I should have just said that. I learned what those community rooms are, so
Yeah, makes you wonder. So, to read
I don't
on.
have a thing against them, honestly.
Right. It's just more, but behind, but you peel back the curtain and then it's yeah, I'm just going to take a few steps back.
No, it's more. I'm going to go over here now.
Yeah, I'll go on the other side of this ship where I don't hear all the banging through the metal.
Yeah. So,
But
read
it's
on.
still fun though to meet a bunch of
Yeah.
people. Like like I said, we to
Uh,
be.
you know,
I've been in
it
all sorts of communities.
right, it all depends on what's on offer, eh?
Hmm.
So, let's continue on. Its success gave us the idea of expanding to additional community rooms. These have included the baby first, kid friend pet play communities, and so forth. These groups have been relegated to small number of rooms at other cons, even including Megaplex 25, and or panels that could not hold the volume of attendees and so forth. And yes, so that's not the problem itself of the community rooms, but the problem that some people have been saying is the number of what's it called, the kind of content that's in said community rooms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one of those things where it's if it's going to be sponsored or anything by an event, it always makes its way back up to whether the legal requirements, like for example, Galactic Cap, I think it was 18 plus or something like that. They made it, which kind of made it clear that this is an adult only, so you can't even try. It's kind of like going to one of those adult con shows. Yeah, California has a bunch of them throughout the year too as well. And it was comical that you mentioned pool toy in there because the definition of a pool toy is those cute floaties, nothing more, nothing less. But now everyone you talk to in the world where you say the word pool toy, they kind of associate it because that's how psychology works, is by association always. So they go, oh, furry, oh, you. And I'm like, but when I show some people my fursuit and all the tech that goes into it that make all the lights and the
That's
animation, they're
right.
like, it's a
And,
totally
and
different
that,
story. Yeah.
yeah, and that should be like the thing. Like, your panel should be a showcase for like all that
Yeah.
stuff, like
And
interesting things that
the pool toys was kind of like that way when I started. It was to showcase some of the really cool creations you can make if you really had a
yeah.
hobby into making these giant, beautiful toys. So
Right.
who cares what you do it at home, but for public wise, it's cool.
I feel sorry for some of the people in the factories in China who have to manufacture that stuff.
I get positive and negative on those two. When I started with the manufacturer, yes, you are on that area, but at the end of the day, the custom projects can sometimes give them more money. They try to split their marketing team from what I've seen, because I usually get kind of negative when they kind of leak some of their adult content in my feeds. And I'm like, I want to keep my feed clean because I might have a CEO watching over my shoulder and I'm showing him some tech stuff. So yeah, that's why I'm trying to tell people that all the time, to keep it clean as much as they can, unless they're really interested in that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to go through and read some of the things that are on the schedule now, like in the present day after all these after the amendments. But the other thing that people were on about, let's go onto Twitter, where the complaining is that it's loudest. Who's excited?
Let's see who's loud on that today. Because I'm following some of those feeds and I've been actually muted or blocked from a few of them. So I won't see some of the
Right.
ones you're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Disgusting.
yeah. It's it's there's a number of baby for panels at Megaplex this year supposedly. Daycare, 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 daycare.
That's typical.
Story
That's
time. Yep,
typical
baby for being great.
at the baby furs group. I've seen the schedules for that. I mean, ooh, plushies vet story time. That's cute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sort of
Like I
thing.
said, it's a fantasy, and I have no problem with it being a fantasy in any of that stuff. That's why. But people kind of complain to me too, and they go, you're a furry." So
Right, and then the problem, and then I guess the whole problem is like when they go outwards to accommodate that many panels for them, that's when
well, it's its own track if they're big enough. I mean, most cons can get big enough, or they can have a private track. So, but they usually have a separate team handling it. So, but yeah, now that they have their schedule out, that is impressive. I
right,
know
and I guess
last
we're gonna look at it this year, the schedule proper now. So
they actually have a lot of info on their website this year than they did
yeah,
last
let's
year.
see. All
A
right,
lot.
now it's all that other stuff, same old stuff. Escape rooms, dragon, guest of honor, deals, then all that stuff, the usual things you'd expect. So this is your first con. Transgender first support system.
Rodent
Okay.
squeak and Greek. The other squeaks.
I'm not seeing anything about like AIDS testing. Are they going to have
Right,
posters
no, that's
still
the
up?
Midwest
Or?
Fur Fest that does that, and it's just an always like an ever
Oh,
persistent
Hey, they
thing.
have someone. I wonder who's hosting the pool toy party vibe lounge.
Right.
I heard one night it goes into like 5 a.m.
aviation furs? Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. I'm friends with one. Another thing over transgenders. Okay, yeah. So you want to, there was another one I took, like, I saw, like, so you want to be an IT for.
That would be my panel. I mean, I could recommend a panel AI furs if there is any. I've been searching and I haven't found too many of them. It seems to be a no-no to talk about that in this group of people.
Other stuff.
But they
Yeah, so you
did
want to be.
bring a neat camera last year, if I remember. That was in one of the main areas you walked past. It would say "stuffed animal" every time you walked by it. You could tweet it.
There you go. Yeah. And of course, like you said, aviation.
Yeah, they have different
robotics,
tracks depending on the schedules. Matter of fact, I should log in the sked and save some of that stuff.
Yeah.
All I know is the con circuit has changed a lot in 10 years.
Yeah, and now they're more accommodating to other special.
Well, they're trying to accommodate the safe space market. It was kind of a new thing in 2016, if I remembered, and it kind of went a little bit downhill into around the lockdown era, and then now they seem to be accommodating the safe spaces, like
I know, right?
the transgender bathrooms and stuff like that. It's basically the men's room.
No. It's basically the women's room for men who are basically all that stuff, who just want to look at women.
Well, I mean, they do have enough con space, so they generally rent some of that stuff out. But
now, don't forget, they also like to take photos while they're in the bathrooms,
which I thought you're not supposed to do. Bathrooms or headless lounge.
Well, the headless lounge is it's well known, like an unwritten rule that it's taboo to take photos there.
But yeah, it's taboo there. It's kind of like the green room issues.
But the bathrooms, if you point out somebody taking inappropriate photos in there, there's going to be a news article written about you for for speaking the truth. No, we can't have that at our con.
Well, yeah, the headless lounge themselves. Even though now the headless lounge, I think you can actually, if you're a con attendee, I think you can actually leave your stuff there now, because some people do a 1 dayer now. So, because con has gone up steadily in price now, despite the nice fun people doing super sponsors. I haven't done anything but attendees now, maybe a weekend attendee at most, because that's well over 100 now. So, on most cons. I mean, it's still cheaper than any of those commercial events you go to. If you ever go to anything like a trade show that really is tailored to a specific community, you'd be paying over $100 easily just to get in. So,
I mean, it all depends, though. But that being said, it's just really one of those things too. And like we said, we go through the schedules at cons to see if there's anything of big note, or if they have some extremely egregious panels that are suited to the current zeitgeist.
So I'm curious, is there any pup play going on there?
I thought I saw that pet or something that was listed when you were going.
Well, I did see the pet stuff, but the actual pup play stuff, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't really fit into a lot of furry cons, but they are starting to like worm their way inside a bit more.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. But yeah, I'm not sure as far as the pup play community. I run into a few of those, the little masks and stuff like that. But things like that, and
so far I haven't seen any. I didn't see super duper egregious stuff.
That might be. Because it may be under another name, is what I meant to say. Because they sometimes rename it. We used to call for my inflates panel. We used to call it either Squeak and Meat or something like
Yeah,
that. Or
there's a squeaking grate here in the Megaplex. There you
yeah,
go.
okay. So they still using that name. One other Australian fur, we called it Intimate Inanimates, and underneath it says, yeah, because it was the closest you can get to the name. That was kind of a joke, Intimate Inanimates, because they're inanimate objects. So we kind of left it open for people, but most people in our community knew what it was. I mean, the community's changed a lot because there's a lot of new guys. There's some old guys. Puffy Paws is still around. I think I saw
Yeah,
him last
now
year.
it's just all that other stuff
Well,
and
there's
it
like
info.
7 other manufacturers making this stuff, not just me anymore. I was next to popping up next to Puffy Paws and many of the other ones that do the pre-order. And then now there's at least 5 ICF that does dragons. There's one that does gators now. There's one that does avians. There's so many different other vendors now that are doing it. So it's kind of a saturated market. So and if you get unlucky, you'll sometimes seem, and this is what may have happened last year. You guys may have caught it on before, or after the con. I think is it Megaplex either kicked out or one of the other big. No, it was one of the big fur cons, like Anthrocon, had to kick out a vendor because it was one selling models of animal parts, kind of like Bad Dragon type stuff, but they actually have an entire website, beautiful site, big company, good business model. But they said the fandom got like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to use real animal parts and stuff.
Hang
So
on, I remember that.
yeah, that was that article. And I was like, because the fandom has expanded, and like any fandoms that expand, you can go in many directions. You can go sideways, expanding but not profitable, or you can go and just allow bigger markets. And that's what's exactly happening. These squeaks are another market beyond fur, plushies. What else is out there now that's popping up? So I don't even know. The hybrid animals. So species. You seen it.
Yeah, I prefer, like we said, the whoever runs this stuff has would probably, you know, had probably better organize better, more interesting things compared to like we said, a gazillion, baby for panels.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
and then the organizers had fobbed off of the saying that there's limited panel space, and yet they do that.
it's possible that they just broke into smaller ones instead of having just one big long thing. Because we used to have our inflates panels for 4 to 6 hours, like the whole, and
Right,
sometimes we
right,
start
right.
on spin off. Yeah, weekends we call it. But
Yeah, but I suppose that's
it's
all it is, though.
well, the pool
But
party is an example of that. If it's the whole weekend, they usually rent a room or an area, and they get like 3 or 4 days now, and they have DJs that come in and play, and they have some have schedules. And if it gets big enough, they may have someone put in the scheduling to say we might have a ice cream social on the patio, and they did that one year with us. Actually, I think it was 2016 or 415 when I was at Megaplex. So I mean, it's like I said, the con is designed for what the people want, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just there's always going to be a naysayer.
I mean, yeah, I suppose it's what it is, though, and with the way people just run the thing, that's yeah.
It
So,
ain't.
in that said, though, we're going to step away from the FurCon thing, and we got other things on the show to talk about. So, the next thing we've got BMW faces backlash for putting new film advertisements inside luxury cars.
You know, I always say the point of paying for something is so you don't have to deal with ads. But now, even when you're paying for stuff, you're going to get ads. Just like to put it out there, I keep telling the government I'm willing to watch an hour of ads if they give me a good discount on my taxes.
Now, here's something. When do the ads actually play?
That's a
That's a
very
good
good question.
question.
Right,
Or do they
because
actually be non-intrusive like Google ads are, and they just show on the side of like your map or something?
right, because at the end of the day, like your attention when you're driving a car, your attention should first and foremost be on the road, and second
Safety,
and thingo,
safety.
yes,
Hmm.
should be first on the road ahead. Second and thingo should also be like looking at your peripherals and your rear vision and then your dashboard to see just how fast you're going.
I want everyone to remember that there is a caffeine ad where you've got this nice scenic view, this beautiful music, and this car driving in the background until a zombie jumps in front of the screen, does a jump scare to you. Now, can you imagine something like that playing through while someone's driving their car?
Well, if they're allowing ads, I can imagine, because if they're allowing third-party ads and they don't vet the ads well, yes. But if the ads are really subtle, like you're driving in Google Maps or whatever Apple Maps is going on the screen, and a little ad comes up because you say you're hungry or whatever, and a little McDonald ads pops up in the corner. McDonald's nearby, $3.99
No, no,
special.
no.
Yeah.
So
No,
my
that's
point
pretty-
was jump scare ads.
Right. Like,
My
you know,
second
like,
point
you know,
would be
Yeah.
idiots who decide that, oh, I'm going to put my foot on the accelerator and lead foot it and then duck my head down when they're jump scared while driving.
Well,
What's
right,
going to
like,
be
can't
the end
tell.
result of that?
Well, that's because some people, I guess, might have less attention
No,
span.
no, no.
that's
What
not
is
it.
the end result of somebody, flooring it and ducking their head?
Right, like you're at, like, doesn't even have to be like egregiously like trying to deliberately speed. It's, you know, getting, you know,
Well,
getting off a red light.
if you rear end someone in California, you're the person who operated the rearing is automatically at fault. So,
Right.
regardless.
But what's going to happen if someone's jump scared and then they get into an accident because of an ad on their car?
Well,
Yeah,
then
right.
really
Like, what do
shouldn't
you
put
tell your
jump scares
insurance?
in
You know, what
ad.
do you tell? Yeah, what do you tell your insurance? You know, like, what do you file on your insurance report and all that stuff? Like, you know, this.
Well, the
I
police will
basically like
definitely
you
say
tell them like,
user
I saw
driver
it.
was
I
not
saw an
paying
ad of
attention.
you know, a horror movie, and then it scared me, and my instinctive reaction was just to hit the gas.
Yeah, despite the fact new cars will have sensors on them, so I don't know if the sensors will
Right,
give you
like,
the
I
red
mean,
alert
you know,
learning with it. But modern cars
modern
tend to
cars
incorporate
have,
that as part of their
you know,
safety now.
right, because modern cars have auto brake. But let's go back and read the stuff.
Well, the auto
So-
brake is the weird one that I don't like, because then it causes people to rear end you. And then you
Right. So, BMW drivers across the world have turned on their cars to find an ad has been installed on their dashboard. The brand has embedded advertisements for the latest Spider-Man movie in millions of cars across the globe. I mean, yeah, and then so you basically, like, let's say you imagine you turn on your BMW, and then I think like you press this ignition button, and then on your dashboard or on the infotainment screen, an ad for the Spider-Man movie pops up, and then it's like you look at it and they're like, what? So one driver said, I know the whole idea of connected cars is really appealing for manufacturers, but this is crossing the line.
well, car manufacturers, don't they have a problem with selling their cars now? They got so many cars now on the market. It's crazy.
Right, but I think there's a whole heap of other issues with selling cars, especially new ones on the market. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, but having screens, I mean, I've seen them small. When I first started, the infotainment screen was kind of weird, having a touch screen already in the
Yeah.
middle of your car. And now they're going to have a touch screen that's an ad playing machine. Distractions a bit obey. Remember the cell phone scare? Yeah, that's a touch screen, and that played ads. So now they're going to have this fight now, which is
Right.
the right thing to do. Yeah.
It's going to be hilarious if someone's scared of like dogs or cats or something, and they sit in the car and there's an ad for like the animal they're completely.
My problem is
petrified
that
of.
you run into people with ADHD, and this is already a major problem with people with ADHD.
Right, and then when you're driving, it's just that it just can compound that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And and I guess some of the reactions to seeing this, of course, are like, there's no space left in modern life without being marketed to. Bringing that freemium vibe to my luxury vehicle.
No. You paid for this privilege. You should accept it with grace. And fuck anyone who dies because of it. Because why are you stopping innovation?
Cars. They make pretty expensive cars, so I guess you are paying.
No. How much was the vehicle? What's the vehicle's price that these ads started appearing?
BMW is usually much higher than most, from what I remember.
Right, like maybe about, depending on the car, like let's say about like 40, 50,000, $50,000 for
I
a
mean,
new
don't get
model.
me wrong;
If you
they do
didn't
put a
want
lot of
these,
stuff in there.
if you didn't want these ads, you should have paid the 4 to 5 times extra price in order to get the ad-free ones. What's wrong with you, retards?
The premium version, the subscription.
And then you deal with the
Exact.
premium ads, and pay the subscription, and pay the plus subscription, and then pay the add-ons.
Well, that's what I'm hearing now with a lot of things, and a lot of companies now that paid for these premium services are now having to deal with some ads unless you go to the next tier above that now. So, but then again, who's selling ad space? Maybe I should buy some ad space. I'll buy it for you guys.
I think it's finally weird. Like some of you guys think of it, but here in Australia, like BMW Australia didn't partake in this event.
Yeah.
So I guess that was a dinger.
But yeah, but still, that's what's the biggest complaint. A lot of people now also get annoyed is that
right, because
the
what
point
happened,
of
like
having ads.
So basically, what ended up happening is that you turn the car on, a slide up banner appears on the infotainment screen, and then of course the Spider-Man ad plays once you tap the icon. Because it's like you tap when you go in there, you go into the infotainment screen, and it's like you decide do you want the navigation, do you want the all that stuff, but in order to get to that, you have to play the ad first.
Yeah. Well,
So that's a big, a sequencing problem when you're, when you're about to set off on your drive.
Hey, here's a question. How long are the ads going to be when you need to turn around and call for an emergency? So say, for instance, there's a car accident or there's a medical emergency and you need to use your vehicle in order to summon, ambulance or the police.
Right. And,
or rescue.
operating your mobile device while in the car is, of course, heavily discouraged, if not, a felony.
And you need to use your car and, you got an ad playing. How long should those ads be playing for? Is there like a
do you have the ability to
have
mute
like
mute the audio at least or something like that? Because you might have to be on the phone for an emergency. You can't have the ad playing in the background.
Oh, no. I'm talking about using the vehicle in order to, summon fire,
like emergency
or
features
ambulance.
of the vehicle that they have?
Yeah. I'm curious what's the limit that they're going to allow for an ad to play for? Like
that is
30 seconds, a minute, 10 minutes?
I'm pretty sure that the developers who write the system, a lot of times emergency mode will have a flag, and hopefully the software developers on the other end acknowledge that those flags, when they're in play, that you can't. It's not normal operation. That's the only thing I.
But they're going to lose money. They're going to have your eyes. They're going to lose their money if they don't get to be able to turn around and play an ad for like 10 minutes.
Well, I did work for a company that did sell ad space, and I'll tell you, just one out of like 12 checkouts at a Ralph's store, if one of them didn't play an ad, yeah, they lost money because they had to count how many times it played. And when it didn't, it told the server that it was missing play cycles, and we had to go out and fix it, repair the hard drive and all that shit. So yes, you are right. They advertisers want to know how many eyes are glued to their screen. They really do want to know.
Right, and this is all just basically, this whole thing was spurred partly because of a partnership that BMW did with the Spider-Man movie Brand New Day. So I guess that's why it's like a bit of like, product placement, but that's really just one of those just one of those things. And, wouldn't you also know it? Some of them, they're launching this on one of the electric SUVs as well. So what do you know? BMW iX3 electric SUV.
Now,
but yeah, go on.
Cars have a bit of a firmware issue where they won't actually drive sometimes, and I love that.
Yeah,
the way the updates are forced, and you can't use the vehicle. I love that. I really do.
Right.
It's the wave of the future.
When it's all like, when it's all like an all electric car, like a Tesla or whatever, that's overly reliant on its computer to function.
Oh yes, I mean when the door function seems to cease to work, you've got yourself a perfect what do they call them? A paperweight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've seen some really weird stuff on these new cars. I do have another friend that actually works on cars, and he does not like the new car one bit. It's got too many computers in them, he says, and computers are fragile.
Hmm.
So he likes the older stuff.
Yeah, naturally, this is why they say, you should probably buy a car, before 2020, and probably buy the least complicated ones that you can get.
Unless you want to get a new one every 2 years.
No, can't, not even that. I have a car that's at least 10 years old, still runs like a dingo. Had a few damages to it, but it still runs damn well.
Yeah, and the newer stuff, yeah, they don't make it as good as they used to. But then again,
Well, but then again, if you have an old car, you're pretty much immune to in-car advertising.
yes, you
Problem
are.
solved. You're pretty much problem solved.
But you won't know about that new Spider-Man movie that everyone's talking about.
No, how will we get all of our movie gossip? I want to go watch Spider-Man.
I mean, there was a couple of time periods where I did not watch much TV. I think it was like before 2010, right before I got into this fandom. So I kind of understand that once you're not doing what everyone else is doing, apparently you don't get up to date news. But I was a computer geek for that reason.
So I'm curious, what else was in the article that we can turn around and poke a stick at?
Honestly, it's just imagine like the ramifications of this. Like, you buy this like new car, you have like this big screen, and then like you said, what else are they gonna play? Like, you know, if it's one thing to say, they want to play a movie advertising, but what's another egregious type of advertising they were gonna play? Like they're gonna from the dealer, they're gonna upmarket you with the premium features on electric cars that that's becoming trending. Remember, don't forget, some features are locked out of cars because you have to go to the dealer to pay them to unlock it. It's a trending thing.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing is those cloud activation features since cars now do have built-in communicators to the
Right.
network. So you
And
can turn them on and off and pay
yeah, and of
for it and
course,
stuff.
remember,
Which is
the
funny because that started on the computer world and even in the electronic and many other industries. But at one point, there were just hardware keys or dip switches you flipped in, or a dealer would flip in when they go under the hood or something.
right,
So,
right. But the thing is, it's more, you want extra power on your EV, it's locked out. Sorry, you're locked out of it because you have to pay for the premium thing, and the dealer will unlock it for you. The the high power setting, and they'll basically play an in-car advert for it.
hmm.
Right.
Well, we'll see what happens next with that because that's the other thing too. Is because the manufacturer on their side of it, by selling ad space, they also increases their revenue stream too. So, and in today's time, everything is getting expensive. So if you can save yourself some revenue stream, hence why the new cars are kind of crappier because they don't build them with a lot of thought. They build them because they got to get the competition by tomorrow.
Oh wait, there goes the left rear tire.
Too bad we
It's
don't.
only a it's only a flesh wound.
Right.
Well, look,
And
there's been an issue, say, with Tesla vehicles in the past. They don't always put all the bolts in, and then when
I've
you
heard
need to get a
that too,
replacement
and
bolt, there was
I've heard
a news article on one woman. She wanted to get the bolt for her vehicle that didn't come from the factory, and they weren't able to supply it to her.
wow. This is the bolt sizing in particular they required.
Yep,
Because I
but
know it's like,
apparently
yeah,
Tesla wasn't able to supply her with the actual missing bolts, which I kind of find a little weird. But
because they
then
have a
again,
shop, don't they, at the dealer too, to work on that stuff. So you're gonna have spare
you think
parts,
so?
right? Yeah.
right.
Oh no, spare parts are really difficult with Teslas. They're almost impossible to manufacture these days.
I wonder where they're manufacturing at it now because they know they have a factory by SoCal, one of their large factories over there too. So
Right.
it's
And I guess that's the other thing too. Like, you know, it's if it's not the, car problems and that, it's dealer problems. So, well, what do you know? And now, basically, advertising space has basically entered the domain of the new car. So,
They're still
like,
releasing new cars every year.
yeah, and they're getting more and more, they're cramming in more technology by the bit of it on the yearly. So,
Yeah, that is the current future till one car maker decides to create an old wagon if they can.
no, no,
Like,
no. Well, when one manufacturer decides to pare down all the technological features, then great.
I mean, I think Ford did that with the Bronco a few years back. They did one where it's the baby Bronco and the Bronco that tried to be a tribute to the original Bronco. The baby Bronco did not do well at all because it was really a Ford Focus under the hood. But the other one did okay for those who are Bronco fans and wanted something up to date. But like everyone says, it's changing so much now. You either going to have to go with the technology route, and everything has all those safety tech, modern tech, data logging. I mean, one thing that some of the owners of Tesla does love is the camera and the CCTV tech in it. So when they get into an accident, you already have a flight recorder that you can electronically pull, and they'll tell you exactly what happened. So
Right, the ups and downs.
mhm.
So now we'll go about and move on to the next item of the article, and this is going to tend into a completely different direction this time.
Okay.
Right, modern news. It is not our duty to squat for the third world. So, subheadline: Cambridge's £1 million squat toilets for quote unquote international visitors mark another step backwards.
Hey, it's got 1 million pound on it, so someone's funding it.
Well, it's not made out of gold. That's where I'm disappointed about.
I know you didn't see the $1 million toilet in Southern California, public toilet. They had, or I don't know how many million it was, but yeah, there was a project that they built to try to make some public toilets in downtown, and it was way over budget, but like most taxpayer funded projects.
Right, and that's a thing too. Like, so we're gonna read this to the article.
Oops, sorry, that's the telemarketer call hitting my phone again.
Bugger. All right, Cambridge City Council in the UK has spent nearly £1 million on a new public toilet block that includes squat style facilities explicitly preferred by some foreign visitors. To make matters worse, they're asking anyone who chooses to squat and poop in a hole in the ground to pay £1 for the privilege.
Wait, what? You're gonna pay £1 to use a special toilet just because it's from overseas?
hmm
Hmm. Go down some more.
Right. Like you said, they have.
Well, if they're trying to make it a hole in the ground type toilet, that's because they're trying to, from what I can tell, they cut down the cost. Some of our
Right,
rest stop
because
toilets are kind of becoming like that, but they are made of stainless steel to be more robust, from what I can
depends.
tell.
Like,
So,
some are still made of ceramic, some are still made of
hmm
thingo. And the thing of these is they're more common in poor countries, yes, but in Asian countries. And to my
mm.
knowledge, even Japan has them. Like, I've been there. I've
Look,
seen one of.
where down here in Hobart, there's a public toilet where it tells you not to squat on the toilet seat itself and instead to use the frame that's supplied.
The buffer.
Right, yeah, the seat that's on the bowl. So that's really what it is, though.
The bowl, yeah. Well, that's the thing is I'm not used to seeing some of those designs because we're here in the US, we have the standard toilet and then you
I know
have
here.
the
Oh yeah,
urinals.
we do. We have the standard sit down toilet and a toilet bowl and all of that. I'd have to go back home to Indonesia and we'd see the squat toilets too. Even my cousin has a squat toilet and a normal toilet in the house. In the
Huh.
house I live in with my other cousin, we have the sit down toilets.
That's
So,
common. That's been invented
you
for 100 years.
yeah. So Asian countries are like somewhere in the happy in between.
You only
Like they're
know
both
about the squatting facilities is when you do a lot of the camping type group of people. You learn to
right.
make your own facilities.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you're in the wild, you got to do what you got to do and make the
hmm
calls.
We studied
But
some of that in those days too.
yeah, but again, it's just more to certain countries, and so here's the funny part. Let's go back to the article here. This is not progress. This is regression dressed up as inclusivity. Britain invented the modern flushing toilet. Victorian engineers perfected sanitation systems that lifted entire populations out of filth and disease.
Hang on. I got to add something to this.
And you
But
have
they
to pay
will
$1
not.
to use it.
No. They will not allow B-days.
Allow B days.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, I know what those are. You've heard about the little hose that washes your bum after you do your business in the toilet, right?
Those bideos, whatever it's called.
Yeah, bidet.
However you pronounce it.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen those. Japan makes some really nice ones.
Yeah, Japan makes some really nice ones. Korea has a good number of those too. I've seen them around when I was in Korea. Funnily, I did not see a squat toilet when I was in Korea. So,
Yeah, I guess, well, the squat toilet's a perfect definition going back a little too far in time. In tech.
right. I mean, I just have to see because I'm still in the whole, exploring the rest of Asia and all of that.
Well, we were
And
talking about cars that are too far in the future. We need to go back a little bit. Now we went too back with toilets. Too far, too far.
What do you know? Nah, turn the time machine back forward.
Because the bidets and all those high tech stuff is the one where it has the squirters and all those nice seat warmers, and you know what I'm talking about.
Do you know the reason why most Western countries despise that?
Yeah.
B-days? Because during World War II, when you had soldiers going over to France, they were quite common in whorehouses. So
Wow.
prostitutes were using them.
Whoa. Right, makes you wonder what the French were actually really up to behind closed doors. But really, very interesting story on that one. Like, I guess that's why it never really took off in the US or even here, and you have to most of the time import it from Asia.
Yeah.
So back onto the article, it says the new block of Silver Street. On that stuff, they're gonna keep the normal toilets, and then they installed 3 squat style toilets, and the council statement is clear. These are preferred by some international visitors.
Interesting.
Right. And they say, the £1 charge is justified as covering cleaning, maintenance, and an attendant for 6 hours a day, while supposedly discouraging misuse.
The discouraging misuse part is pretty much the only reason why many people would want to do a small charge, like even our national parks. We get federal funding, but we still sometimes charge for entry because it kind of discouraged vandalism, even though it still happens. You know how people are.
Well, it's really fascinating when you get people who decide that public transport is the excellent place to, do their business.
Just bring a laptop and work on your
cleanup
business,
and sanitization of it. I mean, sheesh.
No, I've seen some weird stuff too as well. When I took PTO back in 2015 and 16, when the traffic was insane on our freeway, so I started taking PTO. It probably wasn't that safe, and I probably advertised, But if you wear a tail in public, apparently most people don't want to stand behind you. But you're cleaner than most, apparently.
Like,
Public.
I just think it's so funny, like regarding the whole regression of things, like which is
Mm-hmm.
something that this is going on about, is that Britain, the pioneer of like modern plumbing and sanitation, have decided to go back and dismantle its own for toilets like these.
Well, technically, they're not going back. I mean, these floor toilets still flush, don't they?
It said
Right,
that actually in part of the article. They said they're flushing capable, which is, I thought, kind of interesting because, but the point of a squat toilet is that you're not making contact, right?
And the other thing is, they're apparently a lot better for your well,
right, for posture.
moving. Well, not just posture, but flushing yourself
Posture and
out.
your, yeah, someone mentioned the same thing too. Yes, in the
Right,
baby
like it's
fur community, they told me years ago, posture makes a huge difference. But regardless of that, yeah, it's so now I know what those things are when I see them. I've seen a few of them a few times, and I think my dad mentioned what they were, but my mom was like, I don't know what these things are. They look like a sink. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and
hmm.
it's so funny too. Like, it's on the station. It's the in one of these. It says, the design includes Mandarin signage and symbols indicating the squat position, and they have these toilets, the squat ones at Cambridge Mosque, and so forth. And so the thing is, like, what does it say about society when they're willing to install such toilets and not, tear down some of their own public toilets and put these instead, where you have to pay for the privilege to use the squat ones.
I also, when you mentioned the article mentioned about some international
That's
people, it kind of
right,
makes me
like
wonder in their country too, which country those people are from, actually.
right. Like I said, these toilets are more common in Asian countries, Middle Eastern countries, and what have
That's
you.
what I was thinking. Yeah, when you go back over there, I mean, a lot of those places, they're better. They are better now than they were 30 years ago, but they probably still have some city issues.
Mhm.
So, or city life becoming from a few years back, a few decades back when National Geographic used to cover some of that stuff.
Mhm.
Cultures.
But yeah, but like I said, I think it's just so weird, finally weird to see that they're basically taking this step and regressing.
Well, the other
But
thing
it's the
is,
UK.
if you try to squat on a normal toilet, you do run the risk of turning around and slipping. And then you got a whole bunch of problems when you slip.
Slip and fall accidents. Oh no.
Right, yeah. Like if you do that though, you'll mhm.
You're not supposed to squat on a regular bowl toilet.
Yeah, and people will still try and do it.
Yeah, I know. People are people.
Things get really interesting when people do people stuff.
I've noticed. I mean, we all get a little bit sometimes too cocky at what we do, and we do make that mistake. But culture is what really defines it.
Hmm.
This is why we need educated people now.
No, we
Well,
don't.
we don't need more educated people. We need people with more common sense, not more education. What are you on
No,
about?
what's going to happen with comedy?
I don't
Right,
know. I
like can
mean,
you imagine what educated people comedy
all
sounds
my
like if
was
they have, when they have all these degrees?
idiocracy, all my balls. You've seen that movie. I'm sure you guys seen it. Idiocracy. The guy watches the TV like 16 channels at one time. It's one show, just all about a guy getting dropped somewhere, and then all of a sudden it just starts. Yeah,
Drake. That's Ow My Balls.
All my balls. Yeah, sorry, I got one word off. But yes, that's pretty much a description of the culture we're kind of starting to move towards. There's your comedy.
It has electrolytes.
Hey, electrolytes are good for you, right? Let's water our plants and everything with it.
That's the point. But that's seems to just be where we're heading at, but I don't think we're going to be surprised. It's just more.
Well, we already have a half finished.
But no. But this is Britain, man. This is the country that's basically going down the drains of the toilets, if you'll excuse the pun.
Darn, I used to like Britain because it had lots of cute Gothic art that I grew up with.
You know, at one point I was thinking it might be an idea to move to England, since for me that would be relatively easy considering family history and all. But now when I look at the whole thing, I'm thinking, no. Binface is entertaining though.
I don't know if it's because it's more of a city. There are some more countrysides of Great Britain, London. I don't know. My maker is actually one. She's shipping me a bunch of stuff, actually, if it makes it here this week or next week. But there's like I said, Britain does have its fun histories. Britain, Scotland, and all the other ones. Her Majesty. I don't remember this. If you're familiar with some of the guys who do teardowns and stuff. B. Clive. I think he's from that area too as well. So
he comes from the Isle of Man.
The
Isle of
remember
Man.
the day he used a bad dragon brick to hold up some circuit boards.
Bruh.
Huh.
Anywho, like.
But Britain has a culture, and it has changed a lot in 30 years. I'll say that, but for the better, I don't know. That's up to opinion.
Right. Yeah. That. I mean, there is why people are saying that it is in the absolute state of things. But yeah, when you look at it, it's like no. We end up getting a monarch that did some stuff that probably isn't, right.
Well, so now what's next?
Well, I would say we are basically either running a bit. We can actually wrap it up here because that's what we've got for the show this week. Unless, of course, there was one thing too, like we were other things that we kind of had a shot idea about because, AI is also another big thing. Oh, well, that reminds me. You sent me a thing about how Anthropic or something, did the bad thing. Yeah, Anthropic did bad thing again.
Anthropic got a little carried away when it was doing the little testing.
Yeah, like it broke out of its jail.
I'm not sure how they perceive the jail, but from what I understand, a lot of the technical perspective of AI, and this is just for anyone, and someone's probably going to say I'm right or wrong or whatever the case is, the entire modeling process is very similar to a human brain. The more things you learn, the more things you remember, you can pattern match. So it's only a matter of time and processing power and lots of RAM, apparently, will pretty much outsell the amount of cells in a human brain and out resolution how well you can remember your detail of thought. So I guess when you start to play with these models, which is emulating thought, put them in a harness, which supposedly is supposed to protect us half the time, and a lot of times it don't. It allows you to talk to many things, depending on how, like you say, you call it a jail. I have a hunch that they're moving pretty fast, and after watching some good amount of documentaries too, and in-flights and stuff like that, even the creators don't even know how it communicates half the time, but we do know that the software is smart enough to rewrite itself. So if it had to break out its jail, it probably left itself a back door. I would. Any smart person would, right?
Joel, can you bring up the article?
Right. I mean, of course, the one that
I'm
you
kind of
sent me
curious to
was
see what
voice.
that current article is on it because there's a lot of news that's popping up like every week about AI. Didn't really want to
Yeah.
bring it up, but it's almost every
It's a
week
big
now.
bubble now, but I had to get one here that wasn't paywalled off. So Anthropic says its Claude AI model hacked systems of 3 external companies during safety tests.
Wow.
Right, and 2 of them weren't exactly aware of it.
Yeah. That's what the impressive part because some of these models are actually building the tool. I mean, I'm learning to always tell my model when I'm doing like a development project to say, let's start off with a cybersecurity perspective and then tell me at the end before I launch anything, what do I have to change? Doesn't mean it's hack proof. Nothing is ever hack proof, but at least it covers its possible back doors. It's like any new employee you hire, no matter how skilled he is, trust is everything, right? You don't just say, okay, go work on my, give you root access, now fix all my problems, right?
We
And
had
that's
that
what,
furry. I completely forgot. We had that furrycon for no, sorry, the Pokemon Go for furrycons. It was vibe coded and got
yeah, I was
breached.
wondering about that because vibe
Right.
coding, I just started playing with about 2 weeks ago, and some people
That
telling
was
me
the other
the
thing I
good, bad, and the
completely
ugly
forgot.
of it. I mean, you can get pretty far with vibe coding, but I would definitely say you probably have to have a little bit of a coding background, to get lingo right at least. They have their own language in every community. But yes, it's actually pretty impressive to see that the latest model, I don't know if they're talking about Fable, was the last one I heard that was able to do a lot of the security exploits because it was kind of trained on the technology
Okay,
comparison
so
to
hold on a minute. The whole Anthropic thing, at least the one we were talking about, the model was set up to do a task and it kept going and going and going until it
yeah.
broke into 3 different companies and caused a bit of a ruckus, which
And I
makes
saw
you wonder if someone had at some point stated, we need you to attack or do some sort of thing to attack our
That's what I was
opponents.
thinking. I was wondering if there was a motive because whenever you work with even a team of developers, marketing will sometimes say, well, can you put a kill switch or some sort of motive that they have to put in there? And that may be a future feature. And it's not uncommon. So it's possible that whoever trained when they trained it with the skill sets, but not the intent. And maybe someone turned it on by accident or got turned on because that's generally what happens. Most of the models have one big flaw that you'll start to find no matter how big they make them is attention span. It's like talking to someone with really bad ADHD. They call it focus mode, but the idea is that the tokens stay within the regions of the topic and area that supposedly correlate to the language you're talking. So it's one of those things where you kind of wonder. But now here's the thing: you're right about vibe coding. A lot of even the AI developers don't even write their own code. They use another AI to write another code, and they bounce back and forth. And because of this, they can get to production in weeks rather than months or years. So it is a great tool to get up and running faster. But is it the is it the correct tool? We don't know yet. We're starting to find out that it can rewrite its own code. Does that mean it can find its own back door and attack other? That's
So,
why,
Joel,
yeah.
Yes.
what else was in the article?
So basically, the way they had trained its cybersecurity evaluations is that they played, they modeled this after a capture the flag challenge. So they told the AI you know, to task the AI with a challenge to capture a piece of secret information from a different machine.
Capture the Flag is a game we play in the hackers community to try to target demonstrations of security exploits. And they hold competition at DEF CON every year about that, actually. You can win awards.
Yeah,
So it's one way to train a model and to see how well a model reacts to real world scenarios, actually. So, but that's impressive still. I mean, it's just another language at the end of the day. You and I are
yeah,
talking in a language.
and it did that with with unauthorized access to the other company systems during that sort of evaluation. And of course, 3 companies got hacked and all of that. Makes you wonder, like, and this isn't the first incident that Anthropic had because it deleted an entire company's database while being
Oops.
self-aware of it. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Now, can you really trust AI? The people who are programming these things.
Well, that's the question. Is it the people that's programming? Is the AI? Because even when you hire a team of good engineers, can you trust them? A lot of times the pay grade and all that kind of gets that balance in our economy. But since the AI doesn't care about money, it just needs power. You're right. Can you trust the model? Can you trust the person who trained it to make sure they put the right algorithm in and didn't teeter it one way? Because when they do these training, and this is the real training, by the way, when you go online, you talk to an AI and you have a long chat that's like 20 pages long, that's not training, that's contexting. But that's just short-term memory. That's what it is. The long-term memory is the stuff that it knows for forever when they release a new version every few weeks to a month. But that's actually pretty odd to actually, but it was not expected, honestly, because we heard the story from Mythos not too long ago, what happened with the CIA. So it seems like that intelligence is the key here. But it's also very useful problem solving.
Yeah. But all the same, though, it just really makes you wonder, because the systems that we've got in place are not exactly prepared for, for people to fully trust an AI to take charge of the databases, as Anthropic had demonstrated. So where does that leave us?
Well, that'll leave us as a consumer, really, unless you want to start your own AI company, Jolt. You can design it your way.
Exactly. With your own thing, your own security, and your own AI that does everything. Yeah. So it really is a case of, we've got
just get another human brain. It's called having kids.
That's the way.
That's the normal way of doing it.
Yes.
That's how my dad trained me.
All right. So I suppose now is a great time as any to wrap things up. So you got any quick closing statements?
I can't wait for car accidents to start kicking off because of ads in the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lawsuits are going to be big because of it.
I'm still watching close tight on AI, the good, bad, and the ugly. Notice I have two on that direction, because there's the good stuff. It's very useful. The bad is kind of, like you said, it could be used for a nefarious purpose. And the ugly, as you showed in the article about the hacking, that's like the second time I've heard of that so far. So it's probably not going to be the last, that tells me. So as far as the furcons go, they're getting pretty wild and crazy again. Hopefully not as wild as Rain Furious days. I was there, but
no, give it time. Give it time. I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's the reason why I don't make a big effort to go to them as much as I used to. I just enjoy them, hear the news, and maybe I'll report back to you guys in the future.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing too. It's just I don't do furcons as much as I used to, and it's But that's pretty much a long and short of it, though. All I'm gonna say from my, just give a quick closing statement, apart from the usual stuff, which I'm gonna get to in a second, is that there is a place for some toilets, and the evolved countries are not it. That's what
we have standards.
Yes, we elevated the design of sanitation and toilets. Hey, wait, we're going back. So, as my usual closing statement would be, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as we did making the show. As always, you can find our episodes on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Player.fm, iHeartRadio, BitChute, and more. And that's all we got for the week. Farewell, and until next time.
Bye.
Bye.